Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. I'm going to read for you some of the messages that we have received on our Facebook page. To those that I have not yet responded on Facebook, apologies, because there are a lot of messages. The first message that I picked, it reads like this. Hello, how are you, Brother Nashim? Please post my story as anonymous. I am a 48-year-old South African man. Currently, I am staying here in Pretoria, but home is in Limpopo. And to most of the people, they do not know that this is how I hustle. Do not think that everyone that you see driving their beautiful cars, they just made money by hard working. I hate it when I see someone, even on social media, coming and saying that you have to work hard, do not be lazy. Do you know that most of the people that got rich is either you were born in a wealthy family, or if you are a woman, you end up getting married to a man that is wealthy. Then you are able to live a very good, comfortable life. Most of the women that you see slaying on social media, what they won't tell you is that they are being chowed by men that have money. It's like they are just a piece of cake. When the men want them, then they can go and they can give the cake to the men, and they will never say these things in public. All that you will see is a woman looking beautiful and pretending as if she is someone that is a hard worker. She is hustling, or maybe she is doing your drop shipping, selling whatever that she sells on TikTok. And most of the women, they go to bed feeling depressed that out there are women that are hustling. Whatever that you have today, you have to be thankful. Just tell yourself that even to breathe, it is something that is great, because there are other people that used to be rich, some those that were poor, those that were even used for rituals. So just to be alive, you need to be grateful, because God can change your situation at any given moment, at any given day. People like us, we love to give other people pressure because it makes us to feel a little bit better. It is not an easy thing to see, even if it is a snake that will be vomiting, it might be money, or it might be vomiting some charms that you have to use, and only after using those charms, then you become wealthy, or you get the money that you use. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes a man or a woman that is brave to watch a demon vomiting money every now and then. It's like in that moment when it is happening, it's like you are no longer a human being. You are somewhat crazy. My father, he came to South Africa a very long time ago. And when my father came to South Africa, he then met my mom, and my mother then started staying with my father, and she gave birth to me. I'm the firstborn. So my father and my mother, they separated. This was after my father had gone to America. There was this other program where South Africans were going to America through this other company that is called DBM. So when they went there, when my father returned back, they started to have some problems. I really do not know what kind of problems that they were having, and then they broke up. So I grew up staying in an area in ZB Zebediela. That was where I was staying. And after my father had returned back to Mozambique, things became so hard for me when I would visit a Sangoma, because I was very bright in school. But whenever it was time for us to write the examinations, even the teachers, they knew that this one, when it is time for him to write his examinations, he is unable to write them because I will be feeling so dizzy. So I was very intelligent and bright. I wanted to become a lawyer, but later on in life, that was when I trained to do electrical engineering, but through a white man. When I was working on a farm, I was working on a farm where they were cultivating and harvesting oranges. That is where I learned how to fix things electricity and stuff. And then I went to a technical college and I became a qualified electrical engineer. I then started working for other big company. That was when the tenders came about. So when I became a tenderpreneur, I was actually boosted by these other white men, like what I am telling you, that in order for you to make money, you are supposed to be connected through someone, because I was working for this white man, but he did not want to be in front of that tender. So he then said to me, you are going to start your company and we are going to give you a subcontract. And then the next tender, since you'll be having invoices, you know, the white people, they always want to leave a clean paper trail. So I started a company like this year, the second year, when it had good books after filing all the returns that were necessary. In 2012, that was when they told me that I was supposed to get this other tender. Everything was already done. I submitted the papers and I won the tender. And I did that work. And after I had done that work, I was getting a lot of money and I was used to be getting money. And I did not know that when you own a tender, there will come a time when you can't get them anymore. I was used to a very good lifestyle. By then, I had moved out of Zebediela and I was now staying in Pretoria where my cousins were. And I had already acquired a house because I was making a lot of money. Even when my former boss, he had once told me that I was not supposed to get all of this vehicle all at once, but with the millions that were flowing through my accounts, I thought that it was going to last forever. After I then started struggling, I had a small company and I was just getting some jobs, tubing some houses for electricity, and then things got so bad. I was married by then and I knew that there was something that was happening with me spiritually. I was then advised to go to Mozambique. Finally, I then went to Mozambique. It was something that had been on my mind for a very long time, because when I was young, when I would ever face any problems, I would be told that it was because of my ancestors. They wanted me to come to Mozambique. I then went to Mozambique. I already knew where my father was born. When I arrived there, they were very excited and they were very happy. Then they said that there were other rituals that were supposed to be done on my behalf so that I can reconnect with my ancestors. There were goats that were slaughtered. There was a bull that was slaughtered, and all the relatives, they were very excited. When I returned back, that was when one of my cousin, he was already working in Maputo. He had a small business that he had. He then said, cousin, now that you are returning back to your country, I want you to take something from me. That is how it all started. He told me that he had this other small bottle. If I would ever come across any woman that had money, and if I wanted that woman to fall in love with me so that I can use her to accomplish whatever that I wanted, there are men like that. You do not have to propose love to a woman. The woman will be surprised that I just met a guy in a shop. He just said hi. The next thing he said, can we go to a lodge? You go there, you sleep together. After you would have slept with that woman, she'll start to ask herself, like, how did I become so loose? It is because of that charm. I brought that charm with me back to South Africa since I had been fighting with my wife because there was no more money in our home. I then just wanted to find another woman, but someone that was already rich. I did not want these girls that were poor that will be like a parasite living off you. I then started to use it. I started dating wealthy women that had money. The problem that I was having was that these women that I was dating, even though they would give me money, there was one woman who took me to Greece for a vacation. Her husband did not even know that I had gone on a vacation with the wife. She pretended as if she was going with her sisters and two of her friends, but she was with me. When we were there, I begged for that woman to at least to help me so that at least I can restart my business. But she was like, once I start to do that, then it is going to be very difficult for me to give you any money, because my husband is always checking everything about everything. So I felt to convince her to give him, because I wanted her to give me 1 mil. That was the money that I wanted, but she said no, it cannot do. It is a lot of money. I returned back to South Africa with that woman. I was so disappointed. I do not want to lie to you, because I thought that maybe this was it. This was a way of me returning back to my business. When I saw that things were not working, I then contacted my relative again, and I told my relative that I wanted him to give me more charms. He then said, okay, it's fine, I can give you the charms that you want, but do you know that it is going to be very difficult for me to assist you whilst you are in South Africa? How about you come back, then we can go together to where I was also helped. Sensing that this was the man that could take me out of the situation that I was facing, I then went to Mozambique again. He then took me to this other village. We traveled for 2 days just to get to where that village was. When we arrived at that village, Brother Nashi, that was when I was assisted by the traditional healer. I was then told that I was going to be given a human bone, and this human bone, when I would have arrived in South Africa, I was supposed to use that human bone. I was so scared to do something like that, but he said that this was the only way for me to become rich. Then I decided that I had to do this, because I really did not even have any choice at all. I then took the human bones. It was so terrifying for me to travel back to South Africa, knowing that this was what I had in my bag. When I returned back to my place, Brother Nashi, I then started crushing the human bones. I crushed the human bones, and then I started drinking like I had been told that I was supposed to drink those human bones. After I had finished drinking the ashes of the human bones, then I started to get contracts. I was told that I was supposed to buy a calabash. So this calabash that I was told to buy, this is where I was supposed to put my blood. It was quite a terrible ritual that I had to perform, but it was a ritual that I performed only once off, and this is how I performed this ritual. Since I was not circumcised, I was told that I had to go to circumcision, but since I was already old, I did not want to go to circumcision school. I then went to the doctor, and I had an operation that was done on me. So this operation that was done on me, I had already told the doctor that I wanted them to keep my foreskin safe, because I wanted to use it later on. So after the operation, they gave me the foreskin. I took it and I put it inside that very same clay pot, and from there on, I started to meet up with different women. Whenever I would sleep with a woman, this was what I would do. Immediately, I would take that clay pot whilst she would be sleeping on the bed, and then I would go to the bathroom and I will wash my manhood, making sure that her fluids that had came out of her private parts, the fluids would go into the clay pot. And in the morning, the next morning, the first thing before I put anything, even one thing in my stomach, I had to make sure that I just drink the things that were inside that clay pot. This I had to do each and every day until I became rich. To this very day, I am someone that is living a very comfortable life, a life that I live, that most of the people that see me, they just want to live that kind of a lifestyle. So when you are walking, when you find someone that is enjoying their money, like they seem like they are enjoying their money, you need to know that what we do in the middle of the night, it is different from what you think. You might see me as if I am a humble person, but it does not mean that I am a hard worker. But it's not like I am a hard worker. But again, I repeat and I say, it's not each and every person that you see and you will think that the person, he earns his money using ways that you can also use. Some of us, we had to suffer for the wealth that we have. Hence, when it is time for me to use a woman in a way that some of you will say that can never be able to do something like this, this is just pure evil. So if you think about that, if you say that this one, it is just pure evil, then you have to know that you are not ready for this life. If you want to do ukutwala, you have to be strong. You will be requested to do things that you won't even have to tell people in public, things that can even end up with you being in prison because they are not even allowed by the law. That is how far you are supposed to get when you want to do money rituals. This is my confession that I have for you. And people, they do not know that I last did government work way back in 2012. So people, when they see me, especially from our neighborhood, they say, this one, he has been eating big because of tenders. Like if someone say that there is someone that has been arrested because of tender corruption, then they say, name hidden is next. Please do not mention my name. So they will be excited, thinking that maybe the long arm of the law is going to reach out to me. I last did that work so many years ago, and I just laugh whenever I hear people talking about tenders, because those that know me, whenever they discuss about the corruption that happens in tenders, they will be trying to scare me, thinking that I'm still doing tenders. Where I get my money, no one even knows. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our listeners. Let us try to speak with him in the comment section. Strange things they do happen in this world. If you have any confession that you have that you wish to share with us, please do not hesitate to come to my inbox and then you share with me your confession. Then I will post it here on our channel. Let's meet again in the following episode.